magical beans, it's Silver. So the month is June, which means it is Pride Month, and I'm super excited about that because, as I've said on my channel before, in the books that made me want to start reading, and I've said on my social medias, I love yaoi. I love guy on guy. I love boys love. It makes me very happy, and it's just wonderful. It's great. So today I thought I would go over my favorite yaoi mangas. I do read yaoi books as well, like guy on guy books. Unfortunately, I don't have that many in my library right now, in my personal library. But I do read books on that as well. If you guys know any really good other books that incorporate the LGBTQ community, tell me, because I want to know. I want to read them. I love it. It's great. But my favorite is definitely Guy on Guy. If you haven't like tried reading it before, you should, because it's good. It's real good. So yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into my list of my favorite yaoi mangas. So these aren't going to be in any particular order, because when I tried putting them in order, I just couldn't do it. I love them all too much. They're wonderful, they're fantastic, and I can't rank them from lowest to highest or highest to lowest, because it's tough, man. It's tough, okay? They're really good. That's why they're on this list, okay? Okay. Also, my taste may be much different than yours. There are going to be subcategories within what I talk about. So just be aware of that, and I'll go over their subcategories when I get to these certain ones, because not everybody would enjoy this. So to start the list off, we have Love is an Illusion. So this is one of the ones that falls under that subgenre that I wanted to talk about, which is an Omegaverse manga. This one is actually a Korean webtoon, but it's really good. I love Korean webtoons as well as Japanese mangas. And Omegaverse is where the entire world is made up of alphas, betas, and omegas. And some stories have their own sort of twists on the Omegaverse, but typically it all follows the same rules of, in an Omegaverse, pretty much anyone can get pregnant. Doesn't matter if you're a boy, doesn't matter if you're a girl. Anyone can get pregnant if you're an Omega. Alongside that, Omegas release pheromones on a monthly basis for like a week that attract alphas, and it causes both of them to go into heat and to crave one another. And if the alpha bites the neck of the Omega, they become mates, and that's something that usually can't be undone. Some of them have plays on like fated pairs, which means from the beginning, from the moment that Alpha and Omega were born, they were fated to be together. It was like destiny. And some other stories have other twists on the Omegaverse, but typically those are the sort of rules that it follows. So Love is an Illusion is an Omegaverse story, and really you either love it or you hate it. There's really not any in between, because it is something that's sort of hard to swallow, because the Omega in this story has believed his whole life that he is an alpha. And one night when he meets another alpha, that alpha and this poor guy sort of go into heat, because the Omega starts releasing his pheromones, the alpha gets attracted to him, but the alpha isn't like other alphas. Typically in Omegaverses, you always see alphas attack the Omegas because they've gone into heat and they just can't control it. It's their instincts. It's kind of like almost like animals going into heat. You can't really help it. And so alphas usually attack Omegas and take advantage of the Omegas because of that. But in this story, the alpha really tries not to. He tries keeping the Omega away, gets him away from the crowds, tries to sort of protect him, but in the end, the Omega's like, nah, I want this. And one thing leads to another, and they, you know. So the Omega has a lot of trouble with accepting the fact that he is an Omega, and the Alpha does what he can and tries to be the best that he can for the Omega, despite the Omega's constant attitude and negativity. See, this is why it's a big issue for some people, because some people are like, oh my gosh, the Alpha is taking advantage of the Omega and but I don't see it as that. To me, the Omega pitches more of a fit than the Alpha, and the Omega is more of a meanie head than the Alpha. That's all I'm gonna say on it, but Love is an Illusion is definitely one of my favorites. I ship them very hard. And there may or may not be a baby that shows up at some point, and the baby's very cute. So I also really like that about the story too. The next one on my list is called Moon and Savage, which is a sort of Arabian Night sort of feel to it. I read all these online, and that's a little tag that goes with it. It has an Arabian Nights tag, which means it takes place in a desert with foreign people in the Middle East. So yeah, it's an Arabian Nights manga, and it is so good. I read this one, and when I finished it, I was like, oh my god, I need more of this. So then I clicked on that tag that was connected to it, the Arabian Nights tag, and literally read every single Arabian Night manga that was on the site that I use. Which I will link all of these down below so that if you guys want to read them, you guys can go read them. This one can be kind of hairy as well, because it does have a more so forced relationship feel at the beginning, but it quickly goes out of that. At first, the semi, which is the pitcher, we'll say, he sort of forces the ook, which is the receiver. Yeah, get what I'm saying? Okay. He sort of forces the ook into the relationship, and it's very sexual at first, but the story quickly moves forward, and the characters progress, and their relationship does actually become more emotional and not so, well, it's still pretty physical, but there is a lot more romance to it, and you actually do see the ook and the semi really fall in love with each other and form a relationship. That's something I'm a sucker for. I love seeing like a bad boy, which in this case I guess would be the semi, turn good for love and stuff like that. I know that's not for everybody. Some people think that's bad and whatnot, but I love it. I do. So that's why it's on the list, and this is my list. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but it's my list, so make your own. Anyways, moving on. So the next one is another Korean webtoon, and it is BJ Alex. I love this one. This and Love is an Illusion are both still ongoing. They aren't complete yet, at least when I upload this video. They're still not complete. But it doesn't matter. I love them, and I hope I'm going to love the ending on either one of them. I don't see it taking any twists that I wouldn't like for the ending, but if the authors do that, I'm gonna be real upset. And they may not be on my favorite list anymore. But as of right now, BJ Alex is definitely one of my favorites. This one can also be a bit harder to read for some people, because at the beginning of the relationship with the two main characters, it is not based on feelings. It's one-sided. It is very much one-sided for the ook. He really cares about and really likes the semi, but the semi has had a painful experience in the past with relationships and does not want to be in a relationship, and so he's really only in it for the sex, but the Ook knows that, and the Ook agrees to that. He's completely fine with this just being like a sexy relationship, but things do move past that. I'm telling you, it moves past that, and it does become an actual romance and actual feeling. It's good. I don't want to spoil anything. More so than I already have. So I'm gonna stop there before I get too into it. Just go read it. Just go read it. It's amazing, okay? It's amazing, and I also really like the side characters' relationship. Okay, you know what? I need to stop because I'm about to really keep going, and I'm about to tell you the whole fucking story, and I don't need to do that. So we're gonna move on to the next one. So this next one on my list is another Omegaverse, and it is the first Omegaverse that I read. And ever since I read it, I have been craving and craving and craving and craving more Omegaverse mangas. That is definitely my favorite subgenre of yaoi, hands down. I love the fact that two men can have a child that's actually like from them. Like, it's wonderful. I wish that was real. I wish every couple could have kids with each other. I love that. So I really love Omegaverse mangas. They are my favorite. And honestly, I really like when the Omegas have to go into heat and attract the alphas, because it's really sweet when the alpha that they end up with like does everything in their power to take care of them, and like when that situation happens, to sort of protect the Omega and keep the other alphas away. It makes me happy, okay? I love it when characters protect each other. It's wonderful. I know not everybody's into that, but again, this is my list. Go make your own. But this manga is Yes, My Destiny. It has a Japanese name, but I'm not gonna say it because it's a big name. This is an Omegaverse, and I love this one so much. It starts off with one couple, but you really only get that couple for like 2 chapters, maybe 3. And then it moves on to another couple. 10% of the population is an Omega, 10% is an Alpha, everyone else is a Beta. Like, Betas make up the majority of the population. So typically, when you read an Omegaverse, it's about the Alpha and the Omega. But in this one, the later half of the manga is actually about a Beta and an Alpha. And I loved it so much. It was so good. While complications can occur from an Alpha and Omega being together, Betas being with someone other than a Beta also brings up a lot of issues, because it's so difficult for a Beta to have a relationship with an Alpha or with an Omega. Everyone just thinks Alphas and Omegas have to be together. Betas are supposed to be with other Betas. So it was so good, and it was good. I mean, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, because I'm about to start getting into some real feels and spoilers, and I need to move on. But just know, it's really good. You need to read it, okay? Now, the final series on my list is one by Ayano Yamane, which she has a lot of yaoi mangas out, and I knew one of hers was going to be on this list, and it took me a while to decide between 2 which one I was going to put on the list, because they're both really good. Her art and the way she tells stories is phenomenal. So I was really struggling with which one I wanted to put on the list, because I didn't want to have both. And in the end, I did decide with one that is more so realistic than it is fantasy, which is weird for me, because I usually hate stuff that's realistic. But when it comes to yaoi mangas, I actually I'm totally cool with realistic storytelling. So my final series on this list is the Finder series. And it is so good. I swear, all of these on here, people are gonna hate me for these because, I mean, I guess every story has its like haters and its lovers, and you know, every story has some problems. But I feel like all the ones I've said, people could be like, oh my god, you like that? I'm like, judge me, I guess, whatever. But I love it. This is a very crazy story. That's honestly the best way I can say it. It's about a photographer who is trying to get a scoop on this sort of underground, back behind the scenes sort of guy who is involved in a lot of shady stuff. He's trying to get a scoop on him and ends up falling right into his trap, I guess. And that leads them on a long, beautiful, wonderful, sexy, romantic journey of falling in love. And I eat it up. I eat that bitch up like it's cake because damn, is good. I know Yamane is, again, she is such a good storyteller. Her art is stunning. Everything about her and her stories are wonderful. So even though the Finder series is what I'm saying right now, go read all her stuff. Just go do it. If you don't mind seeing a lot of dick and asshole, because you're going to. But I mean, it's Yaoi Manga. What do you expect? Obviously, honestly, I probably should have said that at the beginning. All these, you're gonna see a lot of dick. But I'm telling you that now. At the end. Good job, Silver. Good job. Yeah. So that wraps up my list of my favorite yaoi manga. I wanted to keep it short, so I did have just the 5. If you guys do want to see like a second part of this where I tell you guys my next 5 favorite to sort of add to the list, or if you guys want yaoi recommendations, I will be more than happy to make another one of these because I love gay. I really do. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you go follow me on all my social medias. If you follow me on Instagram, which is what I use the most, I do post pictures of yaoi mangas, yaoi books, and other books. I do participate in Bookstagram, so my account is really full of books, but I also do post here and there about my writing. So yeah, definitely go follow me on Instagram. I do have Twitter and a Facebook page. I also have a blog where I have an ongoing story called Moon and Sun. It's a romantic fantasy short story, and it is actually almost over. I'm getting close to the end of the story, so go check that out as well. And make sure you subscribe to my blog too, because it'll make me happy. Yay! I'll make sure to link everything down below. Also, I want to give a big shout out to my patrons from Patreon because they make this possible. My Patreon funds a lot of the stuff that I do on YouTube, on my blog, and giveaways for them and things like that. So I want to say Lone Wolf, Ellie, Bouncy, Ash, and Devin, thank you so much for supporting me. You guys are the best. Best magical beings I could ever ask for. So, big shout out to them. Make sure that everyone goes, subscribes, and likes, and comment below your favorite yaoi mangas, your favorite yaoi books, or if you hated mine. Actually, please don't. Please don't tell me that you hated mine. Just think it, okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!